Oh, I have a good question for you. Recently, Twitter has been coming up. Of course, Twitter, the cesspit that it is. Fucking hell. I'm sorry. I go on Twitter every day and there's a new controversy. And I'm like, what the fuck? Don't you people have more things to do? You know what I'm saying? Like, y'all hurting my feelings here.
No, they do not.
Right? Jesus. Anyway.
No, I do not.
Apparently, there's an argument going around. Yeah, me neither. I don't have anything to do. Apparently, there's an argument going around that Batman is a fascist. Give me your take on that real quick. How do you feel?
I've seen that. So I've seen that come up every now and then. And I don't know who really believes it. The first time I've heard it was in the Blue Beetle movie. And that was a joke made by George Lopez.
Yeah.
That was not meant to be taken seriously. It was just a part of his character. He believes weird, crazy conspiracy theories and shit. So when he says that, and then people believe him and side with him, I don't think they're joking.
Of course not.
But Batman is not a... Well, what is a fascist?
All right, well, really? Let's classify a fascist. A fascist is somebody. A fascist is somebody who doesn't allow other people to have different ideals than them, and they kind of like shut them down and don't allow them to speak their mind. That's what a fascist is, pretty much. I can look up the dictionary definition real quick.
Well, judging from just that explanation, Batman is not a fascist at all.
Here we go. Historian Emilio Gentile has defined fascism as a modern political phenomenon, revolutionary, anti-liberal, and anti-Marxist, organized in a militia Okay, what the fuck? Let me get an actual definition.
Explain it to me like I'm 5.
Yeah. Oh, 4 kids? Perfect.
Fascism
As
for
we
kids.
learned, fascism is the political idea where the government controls everything. Yeah, fascism is somebody striking other people's opinions down and not letting them voice their opinions. It's blocking them off so other people in the population can't hear them. For example, the Nazis, they kind of cut down any other rhetoric that wasn't anti-Jew. You know what I'm saying? It's like, oh, you can't challenge our ideals. Death camp. Yeah. That's what it is, right? So fascism is basically where you don't allow other opinions to be said. Absolutely not. You're striking it down, not only striking it down, but striking it down with violence, right? Mm-hmm. And so Batman is now being called a fascist, probably because he would be beating up criminals of the lower class. So that's what people are trying to apply with ammunition. Let me try to make the argument. Batman is somebody who he preys on the poor. Whenever he sees somebody trying to get by, he comes in and he deals with them the right way. You know, he beats them up, he does whatever, right? And he shuts those people down. Now, I don't agree with it, but that's what the argument is. So I want you to break that down. Break it down and fight that argument. Go ahead. He's the biggest Batman nerd I know. So he has to know, right? Go ahead.
So they're saying he targets the poor, and
he targets the
poor.
So
this stems from the idea that, you know, all of Batman's villains are all mentally ill people that need help and need saving, and Batman just beats the shit out of them. That is the most wrong perspective that anyone can have on the Batman character. He doesn't just beat up people for fun. This is not a hobby for him. He's truly trying to help them. And, you know, as Batman, of course, he gets rough and he uses his fists and, you know, he beats on them. It's what he does, but, you know, they're criminals that need to be stopped, and they're dangerous criminals that can kill, you know, tons and tons of people in a single night. I mean, just look at all the shit that the Joker has done in movies and video games and everything.
Batman is a byproduct of a world where words stopped working. Mm-hmm. It really is that simple. Continue.
And I've seen people say, oh, if Batman really wanted to help Gotham, he would use all his money and wealth to, you know, help out the poor and everything. He does. Mm-hmm. That's exactly what he fucking does. I mean, if we're going to use the Dark Knight trilogy as an example, look at the charity, the orphanage in The Dark Knight Rises. That's all Bruce Wayne.
Look at Arkham City, where he's protesting. Look at Arkham City, where he's protesting the Arkham prison that it should be shut down. How inhumane it is. He's fighting for prisoner rights, and he didn't plan. Did he plan to get thrown in? Either way, it doesn't matter. That's what he was doing.
Yeah, I think he mentioned it wasn't part of the plan, but he just said "fuck it."
Yeah, so it was. Yeah, you're right.
Yeah.
He did mention that, so it wasn't part of the plan. He was legitimately going out protesting against that prison because of how humane it was, how inhumane it was. That was Batman not beating anybody up, fighting for something that he believed in, and it was for the prisoners.
Yeah. And that's another thing. It's like a very common thread that you will see is that like a lot of the charities, a lot of like, balls and stuff that they have for, to help out the poor and help out people in need is that the Wayne Foundation always gives them a lot of money. And he's always for that. And especially it's a big thing in the animated series that he's always trying to help people out as Bruce Wayne. He tries to do a lot of good as Bruce Wayne. But sometimes you need Batman to do the things that the police can't, or that money can't fix. And Arkham Asylum is really there as a rehabilitation hospital, but it's just so corrupt and so fucked up that
it has to be done that way. And that's why the Dark Knight is so strong. I mean, look at how quick it took for Joker to fester in the system, for the entire city to be on its knees. If Batman wasn't there, it'd be over.
Yeah, he's like he's the last resort, really.
He really is the last resort.
You don't want to get to Batman. And if you're talking about ideals, right, that he's not accepting of other people and their opinions and their ways of doing things, that's also not correct.
Absolutely not.
Red Hood has his own spin-off comic series called Red Hood and the Outlaws. I don't think they've been doing that for years now, but it was a very popular comic series for a while, and Batman is in it some of the time, not all the time. But Red Hood is famous for killing. He's the Robin. He's Jason Todd. He's the Robin that died and came back, and he still fights crime, but he's a killer. He's kind of like the Punisher in a way, where for him he needs to kill. If you can't let these criminals keep coming back, you throw them in jail, they break out and start all over again. He just wants to put a bullet in their brain and be done with it.
Right.
And he had a one-on-one conversation with Batman. In one issue of Red Hood and the Outlaws.
Straight
up, very early in the series.
Straight up challenging his ideals. The complete opposite of what Batman is. Continue.
Yeah. So they had a one-on-one conversation early on in that storyline of Red Hood and the Outlaws. And Batman basically tells him, I wish I could find the comic panel. I can't, because I want to know what he says.
Paraphrase, brother. Paraphrase.
I'm going to see if I can find it real quick.
Go ahead. I got you. But there is one point I did want to bring up about Batman. Once again, you mentioned how he was a last resort. That is not, that, como se dice, that is absolutely 100% the truth. He doesn't want to do violence, and people always look at Batman's flashy house. They look at Bruce Wayne and think, oh, he's got all this rich stuff. I don't think people understand that the rich, people who actually care about charities, they give a lot, but they don't give everything. That's what people want, is for the rich to give everything. Oh, you don't need it. Take everything. Yeah, you have to give them the house. Sell the house. Give them the profits. People don't understand that the rich can only give so much and still be rich. All right, the rich need to be able to stay rich, and they need to keep some of their riches in order to make more cash for them to give away. And that's what Bruce does. Bruce gives away so much, but he can't give away everything. All right, he has to continue to make cash with his company, with his enterprise, and so he can continue to donate, continue to fight, continue to have political leverage. He needs to have that position. And the only way he can maintain that position is by not giving fucking everything away. Plus, he also has to give off the Playboy millionaire thing so he can keep his cover as Batman. He can't be some hermit, because then it'll be suspicious. Yeah. It is what it is. The money that he has serves a purpose, but he gives a lot to charity. And not only him, he eggs other people on to give to charity with his fundraisers. It just makes sense. Go ahead.
So I found a little bit of the comic panel. I'm basically going to paraphrase. So Batman and Jason Todd basically were doing something with Black Mask. And I guess Black Mask was under Jason's control in a way. Or he was in charge. Jason Todd was in charge of Black Mask. And so Black Mask basically has fallen completely off the radar. And Batman says, "Tell me, Jason, what did you do to him?" And then so Jason says, "I kept my word. I didn't kill him." And then he follows it up with saying, "That's the last time I play by the rules. I tried it your way and it sucks." And then Batman says, "My way," and he says, "Yes, all your Law and Order crap." And Batman says, "Jason, I break into private property without a warrant and beat people up almost every night. What about that sounds like Law and Order to you?" And then he follows that up. So they start eating a meal. This is at the end of the conversation. I skipped a lot, but at the end of the meal, or they're eating on the Batmobile, and Batman tells him, "The world might have enough heroes, Jason. Maybe we can do this with a few outlaws." So he's accepting Jason Todd's morals in a way. Right. Batman doesn't condone killing, but he's fine if Jason kills or if Alfred kills. I mean, he's not gonna condone it.
Yeah,
he's not gonna praise them, but he's not gonna stop them from doing it. He's done trying to change Jason's mind after so many years. Now, he knows that this is who he is.
If Jason's with him, like in a team up, then Batman's going to preserve life. But he can't stop. Yes. He can't stop Jason from going out and doing his own thing. And there are way worse things to think about than Jason offing some criminals. You know what I'm saying? So it makes sense. Go ahead.
And it goes into a thing of just saying like, oh, but wouldn't that make Jason a criminal? Well, Batman was just saying in that conversation that he's a criminal too. He's a vigilante.
Yeah.
He doesn't play by the rules. He has his own morals and his own code, but he's outside the law.
Just like how he doesn't stop Batman or Wonder Woman. Not Batman. Batman doesn't stop Superman. He doesn't stop Wonder Woman. He doesn't stop Flash. Even though those people have killed in the past, they generally try not to. But Jason Todd isn't going against innocence. He's not out there like taking advantage of innocence and holding people hostage. He's not robbing from the poor, that kind of thing, right? He's not doing that. Just like how Selina is not really a Catwoman, is not really on the top of his list of priorities because Selina steals from the rich. You know what I mean? That kind of thing. And when she does steal, she doesn't hurt anybody. The only time she ever hurts anybody is from like mob bosses or stuff like that. She tends to steal a lot from criminals as well. That's another thing. So he doesn't really see that as a good use of his time. There's still way worse people to take out. Mob bosses, big villains, psychomaniacs like Zaz. There are still way worse people for him to deal with. If he has to start dealing with those kinds of villains, then Gotham doesn't need him anymore, you know? Villains, quote unquote. You get me.
It'd be too far gone.
Yeah.
So it's like, and he understands Jason and Catwoman even as well. Like he understands their morals. He understands that they're not trying to kill people. They're not, well, I mean, Jason is trying to kill people, but he has a good heart. He knows what Jason's trying to do is protect.
And so he's not at the top of his list. He's not at the top of his list. That is what it is. If Jason gets in his way, then he'll stop him. But that's it.
For sure. And so, I mean, there's even stories where Jason, when he's helping out the Bat family, he'd switch to rubber bullets, non-lethal rounds. He'd help them out
because there's compromise. Oh, how long has it been since we've seen some sort of fucking compromise on the internet? Holy shit!
Years, bro.
Yeah.
So the Batman fascism argument doesn't work.
It's a joke.
He is open to other ideals and he's open to working with other kinds of characters, even if they do kill. He's gonna, shit talk him for it. Yeah. He's gonna be like, you need to kill him.
He's gonna say you're wrong, but he's not gonna stop him unless, once again, it's not for the betterment. Like for example, if Jason Todd wanted to kill somebody, but that person had knowledge on like hostages in a building with a bomb, and if he dies, that information goes with him, then he'll stop him. He doesn't because he needs to know that information because those innocent people are going to suffer if he doesn't if he kills them, right? But besides extraneous circumstances like that, he doesn't really care, because these people aren't really on his mind. He's got worse shit to deal with. But that's the thing. There's compromise. I see where you're coming from, but I think you're also an overall good. All right. Now, when you become an overwhelmingly bad, that's when I'll come after you. But when you're a decent guy, when you're doing decent things, why would I stop you? It doesn't make sense.
Yeah. And last example, and then we can wrap up this conversation. The Killing Joke, one of the most famous Batman stories. Joker shoots Barbara Gordon in the spine, and he kidnaps Jim Gordon and basically makes him go crazy. He's trying to turn Jim Gordon into him. The story ends with, Batman and Joker outside by themselves, And they basically say this conversation kind of like what Green Goblin tells Spider-Man in the first Spider-Man movie is, we're going to keep battling for eternity, and it's going to end with one of us killing the other person.
Yeah.
And Batman straight up holds his hand out to Joker and tells him, it doesn't have to be that way. I can help you. He wants to help the Joker. That's his goal. He wants to rehabilitate the Joker. He wants to give him a chance at a normal life. Even after all the crazy shit that the Joker has done in the past, Batman believes that there is a chance that Joker can be redeemed. There's a chance.
Even when facing overwhelming odds that Joker will do it again, Batman still gives him an open hand rather than a fist. That's not what you call a fascist.
Yeah. No. People who believe Batman's a fascist just don't understand the character at all.
I think it's ridiculous, and I think it's just really meant to incite a reaction. I highly doubt that there's a genuine group of people out there who believe that. If you do, you're just not well researched. You're ignorant, and you refuse to no longer be ignorant. You're inclined to be ignorant. You know what I'm saying? It's because you like validation. Yeah. That's what I think. It's a joke. If you just read the comic, if you just read the comic or you watch the movies, you start to understand that's not how he is. That being said, I may not even agree with Batman giving Joker a helping hand after all the shit he did. Oh fuck, but that's the thing. It's a differing opinion, and he's the exact opposite of what the normal person would do because he's capable of stopping him, right? That kind of thing. But
and that goes back to what we were saying with Red Hood. Red Hood would rather put a bullet in Joker's brain and call it a day. Batman is willing to give him a helping hand and rehabilitate him.
So Batman is literally the furthest thing from a fascist. People just like saying crazy shit because it gets a reaction. But there's nobody out there who truly believes this. Are you kidding me? Jesus. There's no educated person that believes this. And I'm not saying educated like smart. I'm saying educated as in educated on the topic of Batman. All right, that's it.
Yeah. Nerds.
Yes, indeed. Geeks and everything in between. Fuck's sake.
Yeah.